So welcome back to my channel, and I just wanted to share about getting a Finnish visa. And I want to say once again, I've done a video on when is the best time to visit Finland, and I will share the link and you can watch it. But Finland is beautiful all year round, so basically you don't have to choose. Of course, if you come during winter, then you have to kind of plan way in advance, especially about the clothing, because you have to buy like winter shoes, winter jackets, etc. But if you come during summer, then if you're coming from a tropical country, then you can use the same clothes that you've been using. And the advantage of having a visa to Finland is that you can access all the Schengen countries. That's a total of 29 countries that you can visit, 27 in the EU and 2 in the EEU. That means you have a chance to visit other countries other than Finland. Of course, you have to remember that if you have a visa to Finland, I will share the requirements in a short while, but if you have a visa to Finland, you have to remember that you have to spend more time in Finland than any other country. So as much as you have other countries that you can visit, but you have to spend more of your time. So if you have like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, then most part of your time has to be in Finland, and it has to be your point of entry. You cannot have a visa to Finland and then you're visiting, let's say, Germany. So you have to land. Your first point of entry has to be Finland, and we will go through the requirements in a short while, as I promised. But yeah, like for me, I have been able to visit countries like Greece with the same visa. Of course, I have a residence permit, but if you have only the visa, you have the same access as someone who has a residence permit. So you can, I've gone to Greece, I've gone to Germany, I've gone to Spain, Italy. I will share a few photos of those places. And yeah, it's those places, I mean, Central Europe is very beautiful. So with Finnish visa, you have access to those countries and you're able to visit. So let's go through the requirements. So the number one requirement, most important, is you should have a passport, and you have to apply your passport way in advance so that it doesn't affect like your application. So get your passport way in advance, and it has to be less than 10 years. And also the passport has to be valid 3 months after your planned departure from Finland. So you have to have like ample time so that you are not short of the time. So if you're planning to travel, let's say in June, and going back in July, then your visa, I mean your passport, has to be valid up to around October. So don't go with a nearly expiring passport. And then even if the visa is passport, then it has to have at least 2 blank pages where they're going to put the stamps. So make sure you have the blank pages. And then you will need a passport photo. It's a bit windy here, I hope you can hear me. And passport photo, it has to meet the requirements. So in terms of size, clarity, and validity. So like, when did you take it? You cannot use a very old photo more than 6 months. And there are more requirements. Please check when you go to the photo studio, ask for a Finnish passport photo, like for your visa. So usually they have the requirements there, so you don't get a wrong passport photo. And remember, you cannot use a selfie. And you will need a travel insurance, and the travel insurance should have a minimum coverage of 30,000 euros, and it has to be valid throughout the Schengen area. And the one that I would recommend, of course I'm not paid to say this, you can check more other insurances that you can use, but the Swiss Care is very easy to fill, and you get your insurance almost instantly in a PDF form, which you can attach when you're applying for your visa. And then you will need a flight reservation, and reservation or itinerary, let me call it. So once you have your planned dates of travel, when you're coming back, then you can do a reservation. And a reservation is not a flight ticket, so you just reserve through a travel agent, or even online you can access. but usually I've used a travel agent. So you get the reservation without paying for the actual ticket, because you are not even allowed. Of course you can do that, but you have to have like cancellation insurance, because if you don't get the visa, the embassy is not liable for the money that you lose for paying a ticket and then you don't get a visa. So basically it would be wise just to do a reservation on the dates that you plan to travel, and it has to be like a round ticket, that's like going and coming back. If you have only traveling and no return itinerary, then you might get a denial of the visa. So get a reservation for your round trip, that's going and coming back. And then you will need accommodation or evidence of accommodation. So if you're going to be staying with a friend, you need the address and the financial commitment from the person, if you're going to stay with a friend or a family, that they are going to be hosting you. And if you have to pay something, you have to show proof of that, or if you're going to be staying for free. But if you're going as a tourist, then you need hotel reservations and kind of itinerary. How are you going to move from point A to B? Where is the evidence of car rental or train tickets, things like that. So if it's hotel, if it's a visitor, like as a tourist, then you need a comprehensive itinerary. If it's from a friend or relative, then you need just their details, where they live, how they are going to host you. And then you will need to show financial proof. Do you have enough money to support yourself while you're in Finland or Schengen area? And nowadays it's 50 euros per day times the number of days that you're going to be here. So if you're going to be traveling for 30 days, so it's 50 euros times 30. Yeah, so you can convert that to Kenya shillings based on the exchange rate at the time of application, and that money should be in your account. But if someone is sponsoring you, or the host is sponsoring you, then they have to sign a commitment that they are going to sponsor you, and then you can provide the bank statement from the person who is hosting you. Another thing you will need is the proof of ties in your home country. So do you have property? You can show like title deed that you own land there. You can show also employment contracts. You can show leave approvals, and if you have children, parents, spouses, spouse. So you can show proof of ties. That is just to show that you're only going to visit Finland and you're going back because you have very strong ties back home. And like I said, if you're going so let's talk about invitation later. If you're going to a conference, then you will need the invitation to the conference. If you're visiting a family or friend, then they have to write a letter of invitation. And nowadays it's allowed that the person inviting you can write like handwritten, free handwritten, or you can go to the magistrate's office and get a pre-written questionnaire. So you just fill the details of the person you're inviting. So, and that is what I've used. It's very easy. Just fill the details of the person that you're inviting and scan that document and send to them. And usually they do the notarization at the magistrate to show that you're the one who signed the document and you're the actual person who is inviting your guest. And if you're visiting a family of friends and they're going to be your host, then you will need the host's passport, which has to be valid, and then you will need to show proof of residence. Are they there like on a residence permit, or what is their status like in Finland? And then they can attach their bank statement, especially if they're going to sponsor your stay in Finland. And once you have all the documents, then you have to do an application, and you can do that through Enter Finland through the embassy, or FS Global, which is in Nairobi, and you have to book an appointment. Once you get your appointment, of course, you attend the interview with all the documents that we've discussed, and there is a fee that you need to pay. And usually for the adults, which is more than 12 years, then you pay 90 euros, and if they are children 6 to 11 years, it's 45 euros. And then once they take your biometrics, you leave your passport there, and when the decision is out, they call you or they send you the passport with the visa in it, and you're ready to travel to Finland. So good luck with your application. If you have any questions which I've not covered in this video, please share in the comment section. I will answer to the best of my knowledge. And if you're watching us for the first time, please subscribe, leave us a comment, like, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye bye.